I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this Data Exposed exclusive, where we are live at the PaaS Data Community Summit in Seattle, Washington. I actually have some folks from outside of the US who traveled all this way to tell us all about the new things in Managed Instance. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hey, hi, my name is Danny Lapava. I'm a program manager with SQL Managed Instance team.
My name is Nico. I'm a product manager with SQL Managed Instance team as well.
Cool, awesome. Right. And we're excited to have you guys here. We're not going to spend too much time because I know that's what you're going to tell us all about. But what is the point of this session that you're about to give?
So we wanted to, here at PaaS, we wanted to release new features for SQL Managed Instance this year so far. We have released 28 new updates, and here at PaaS, we have 14 more updates for SQL Managed Instance.
Yeah. It's also a great opportunity to get the feedback from the customers, to share the good news with them, and to get a feedback. Do they like it? Do they want something else, something different? So a huge privilege for us.
Awesome, cool. Okay, well, let's get right into it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks very much for joining our theater session today on SQL Managed Instance. My name is Danny, and I'm a program manager with the SQL Managed Instance team, and I've been there since day one of the service inception in 2018.
My name is Nico, and I am a product manager at SQL Managed Instance team.
All right, Nico's really awesome. Nico's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'd like to point out that at this past session, we actually have 14 different sessions in Managed Instance. Some of them are in person, some are online.
Some of them are gone.
Some of them are gone, yeah, because we're now in the third day of the meeting. What I'd like to maybe point out is our next session, Unlock New Value in Cloud and Managed Instance, so that's going to be interesting. And then tomorrow we have a focus group. So if you guys have any feedback or want to work with the product group, tomorrow will be really great to talk to us in the focus group. So I wanted to do a reflection of improvements of Managed Instance in the service launched in 2018. The number of improvements the first year, 2018, we had 8. And you see how it grew in time. It was really fantastic progress for us as a service, as now in 2022, before the PaaS Summit, we had 28 announcements. And at PaaS, we have introduced 14 new announcements, which makes us go through the roof with the improvements for SQL Managed Instance. 42 improvements this year, folks. And the year is not yet over. I think there might be maybe 1 or 2 more improvements, maybe, coming by the end of the year.
Coming back to the slide before, there is a session, end-to-end demo session tomorrow. We do not show, I think, like 3 PowerPoint slides at all, and all the rest just demos.
That is a
you should come over. Let's put it this way.
That is a good one. When is it?
It's Friday,
demo
December
party.
11. Yeah.
Okay, so Friday tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. EST,
Oh my God, that's
end-to-end demo party. A full hour only demos, like 4 or 5 minute demos, just like demo. Okay, awesome. So let's talk about these new improvements. So I just wanted to list the improvements here, and I wanted to share the QR code. So for all of you folks interested to find out more about the improvements we're delivering at PaaS for Managed Instance, please go to the link, the QR code, and then you'll be able to read lots more material. So I'm just going to leave this for a couple of seconds for you guys to take the pictures. All right. So diving in what these improvements are. A big thing, yesterday we have released SQL Server 2022 in RTM. And with releasing SQL Server 2022, MI Managed Instance is now backwards compatible with SQL Server 2022, where you can take backup on Managed Instance and you can natively restore it in SQL Server 2022. So it's a really big thing that we did there. And with that, you also maybe heard, and was yesterday demoed in the keynote, the link feature of Managed Instance, where it is possible now to make the hybrid link between SQL Server to MI. And you can start using MI and Azure in the cloud without actually migrating to the cloud. So that's GA for Managed Instance. And we also have the ability to go back. You've seen in the demo yesterday that you could fail over to the cloud and then fail over back. So for SQL Server 2022 and MI, that's currently in a preview.
So it's like no more Hotel California. You can check in but never check out. now you can.
That you can check out. So really wonderful. I am not aware of any other cloud provider that provides this hybrid flexibility at this point in time with SQL Server. So really good. All right. So how does it work? So the backup and restore, we call it offline failback. How that works is that you can take backup on managed instance. You can use back to URL, and it shoots your backup to Azure Storage. Azure Blob Storage is an intermediary where you store your backups. And then on the SQL Server, you would use restore from URL, and you would pull that backup from the Azure Blob Storage. And backup to and from URL is how this natively works. One wonderful thing about SQL Server 22 is that it supports managed identities. So in order for you to authenticate to Azure Storage, earlier you had to use SaaS token, but now you can natively log in with managed identities. It's really cool, makes the experience totally smooth. And then our superstar, the ability to failover back in the DR, you've seen that yesterday. Because the compatibility between SQL Server 2022 and MI, it's now possible to do DR two-way around. Currently, it's in the preview. It requires a sign-up. Everything's documented and online, but this is something that we are working on and going to make it even better, invest in this more into this experience. Transaction replication, finally GA. So important thing about managed instance that it can be both distributor and subscriber. So really have the ultimate flexibility of data mobility with transaction replication. And then log replay service, that's our implementation of log shipping to the cloud. So in order to migrate to managed instance, all the tooling like DMS and the SQL extension, the SQL migration extension for Azure Data Studio is based on LRS. So LRS is our implementation of log shipping service. It's finally in GA. What's new about it and what's cool is that we no longer require checksums, backups to be taken with checksums, which is a requirement before. And that now allows us to actually have this ultimate freedom of mobility where you can maybe go to some other cloud service providers who do not allow backups to be taken with checksum and migrate to managed instance. So really happy about that improvement. Cost optimization. My friend Milan here actually has worked on this. I have to call him out. Amen. In GeoDR or failover groups is capability for disaster recovery in the cloud for managed instance, where you can have MI1 in one region and MI2 in another Azure region. And those two MIs are connected together in the DR, and we call that out of failover groups. So your MI1 is the primary and MI2 is the secondary, where the database are replicated. So now we're offering the benefit that for this secondary MI, you do not pay SQL Server licenses because if you're not using it for offloading the read-only workload. And it's a new option in Azure Portal that you need to enable, and then you get the savings on the secondary. So really, our focus is to also provide the savings in managed instance space, and that's one of the features that's delivering savings for MI.
And with that, we're also on par with the VMs. As you know, since 2019, you could run a passive DR for free. I mean, for free, you still pay for the compute and for the storage,
just not for the
backups,
license.
But you do not pay for the license. So now managed instance is also, up to the game.
Yep. All right. Moving on. Cross-subscription PITR. So PITR is point-in-time restore. It's an ability to restore backup on managed instance from Azure Backups. A lot of customers have actually these scenarios where they have dev test, staging, production, etc. And there are different subscriptions that customers have, maybe for developer subscription, production subscription, and subscriptions are typically used to separate the costs, maybe even within different departments. So currently, to move your data from MI in one subscription to managed instance in another subscription, you all need to do it manually, which is really tough, right? You need to make the backup, you need to put the blob storage, get it back, restore it, all complicated. Now with one click, or actually with the PowerShell command, it's now possible to do the cross-PITR restore between different subscriptions, make it totally easy. And if your database is TDE encrypted, if the keys are managed by Microsoft, it's all AutoMagic underneath. So the keys would be different on these two managed instances, but then everything would work smoothly for you. If you're using Bring Your Own Key, if you're managing your own keys, then you need to manually make sure that the keys match on both instances, and this will work. All right. Another cool feature, so we're investing a lot in data mobility. So once you get running on MI, and let's say you have a fleet of MIs, 2 or more, that could be a fleet, we made it really easy now to move and copy databases between these managed instances in an online manner. What this means is that you would have a minimum downtime. So imagine if you're using backup and restore, that takes time. You're offline for X amount of time, right? With this feature, we're using always-on technology to seed the database from one MI to the other. And then you are in control when the seeding is completed. You are in control when you want to execute the failover. So you execute the failover and your database is instantly available from one managed instance to the other, which enables you essentially to migrate your application workloads between the fleet of MIs. So really cool feature to rebalance your databases within the fleet. Finally, we had lots of feedback that customers would like to see the history of all the backups made on managed instance, and especially Azure managed backups, the backups made by the service, by the Azure itself. So finally, we have delivered that. You can use MSDB as you would do standardly on SQL Server to query MSDB, and you would get now all the history of all the backups made on managed instance, both if they are made by the service by Azure or if they have been done manually. It's another cool feature. And off to you, my friend, to talk about something new. Here's the clicker.
All right. So maybe you have noticed, maybe not, we've got this feature wave for November of 2022. Anybody have seen it in their subscription? Yes. Okay. Another gentleman works for Microsoft, I guess. No, that's just a shirt. I know that. It's like that. Anyway, so we are introducing this SQLMI feature wave for the November 2022, and I think some of the exciting features made into it. So first of all, I mean, the title should be enough for a lot of people. Have you ever provisioned an Azure SQL Managed Instance? How long would it take to provision? That's on this distance I can see that probably 1, not 3, not 4, right? No, okay.
3 hours, she said?
Yeah, it can get a little bit longer than that. So
it depends if you have connections in MIT or not.
When I grow up, I want to work for the SQL MIT. All right, so we are introducing with this feature pack provisioning that is 10 times faster.
Woohoo!
It's absolutely amazing. There are, of course, conditions because this feature wave is applied only on certain subscriptions. At the moment, we will make it available everywhere on every subscription in the next month to come. But you will also need to follow some of the requirements in order to get a fast provisioning. We are starting. It's not the end of what we are delivering. We are warming up. So you need to make sure that this instance within Azure SQL Managed Instance, the instance will need to be placed inside an empty subnet. If there is something in the subnet already, then you will not get a fast provisioning, you will get a slow one. Also, we are supporting 4 to 8 CPU vCores, but it's an easy way to get started because you can provision 4 to 8 CPU vCores really fast, and then you can scale, you can already start working, and then you will suffer just, a couple of seconds of failover, and that's it. And then you need to select default maintenance window. And answering any potential questions, no, we will not keep this forever like that. It's just a start.
Yeah. And what I want to say, everything is shown in the portal. So in the portal, you're going to get this ribbon at the top, and it's going to say your managed instance is ready for the new feature wave. You click on it, and all the instructions that Nico said there are just spelled out there in the portal, so it's easy for you to click, and actually get it running for you.
Okay, so this is just a start, and faster create for any instance and faster update and delete instances are also on the way. Then we have these little 4 features, which is start stop.
So, question: who wants to save some money for MI? Who would like to save some money? Yeah.
Okay. So, we already introduced so many features, even with the GeoDR on the secondary, the passive one, which you do not pay the license, but there is more. So, start stop is in the preview. if you are running 9 to 5 jobs, or if you are running a limited workload, I mean, that should include the maintenance because you are managing the indexes, you are updating the statistics, but now in the portal you will have a start and stop. And this operation should take just a couple of minutes and we will be improving it. So once you pause the managed instance, you will not be charged for CPU vCores.
I wonder about scheduling. Could I do that?
Let me click and here you
Oh,
go.
wow. Look at that.
We are providing a scheduler. You do not have to run, I don't know, Azure Logic apps or Azure Automation, anything else. You can go directly to the managed instance and go to start stop schedule and schedule multiple activities. So we expect by now 5 minutes for the stop and 20 minutes for the start operation. Overall, we want to be on par with Azure SQL VMs. Then, zone redundancy. This one is really, really exciting. So our customers have been asking for quite some time, can we get even a higher availability, a better SLA? And we will tell them, I mean, our default beats even the zone redundancy of our competitors, but people wanted a specific solution. They wanted its own redundancy. So on business critical service tier, where we run 4 synchronous availability group replicas, we will now place your replicas in different availability zones. Of course, you need to run this on the Azure Hero region to have the availability zone, zones. Otherwise, it won't work. But this is a great improvement, and we are also committed in the next calendar year to introduce the zone redundancy for general purpose.
So I have a question. So currently we're at 4 nines availability, right? Which is really cool.
There is a slide for that just right after this. So this is basically an overview how it would work on general purpose service here. So we have the spare nodes, and then there will be a failover, and on availability groups, then the instances, the secondary replicas will be placed in different availability zones, and you can safely fail over, even if the whole region goes down.
Wow.
So, oops, there is something with this slide. Oh, okay, no. So besides our default on Azure SQL DB and MI, the 4 nines, Azure SQL DB already has the availability zone, so we are also introducing them, and now it's 4 nines and a half. You can see, a comparison of our competitors.
If I read this correctly, that's actually way better than these other providers. All right, cool, awesome.
So one old technology we have drastically improved, that's our dear colleague Sasha, who led this development from the product team, is MSDTC. That's a 20-year-old technology, and we now allow you to run the distributed transactions. So MSDTC, between managed instance and SQL Server, placed anywhere. You can run it on premises or in our Azure SQL VMs. We will support a distributed transaction coordinator there. So you can see all the options we do support. So distributed transactions, and here we go. To finalize, we also improved some of the network requirements, and you can see that fewer rules are needed. You do not have to mess with network security groups, so NSG, they are kind of falling away. We introduce more security, and we are also requiring less IP addresses within the subnet to be reserved. And I guess, the rollout has already started, and all fleet will be updated automatically. You do not have to worry. So it's not an optional update. We just starting it to roll out, and watch out. One day, earlier or later, you'll get all of these features automatically.
Yeah. And here, how's that little banner looks like on the Azure portal that you need to click on to get this.
All right. With that, thank you so much. If you have any questions, happy to take them.
Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a great session. I learned so much about the new updates. I think everyone did online as well. So thanks so much. Do you have a favorite top announcement?
Am I linked?
Oh, I would say start stop.
Start stop. Okay, both really
one,
cool.
yeah.
Awesome. To our viewers online, if you like this episode, go ahead and give it a like. Leave us a comment and let us know your favorite new update, and we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.